Mango Math presents What's Your Sign? A pre-algebra game. What's Your Sign is a pre-algebra game that has students applying and extending understanding of addition and subtraction, multiplication and division of integers. What's Your Sign has some math terms to help increase understanding, and that's integers, which is positive numbers, negative numbers, and zero. Operations, which are the four basic operations of arithmetic, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And we have PEMDAS, which is the order of operations, which we start with, we do what's in the parentheses first, then we deal with the exponents, then you do multiplication and division, and it doesn't matter which one comes first, just in the order of, if you're reading it like a sentence, it's just whatever order it comes in first. And same with addition and subtraction, it's in what order it comes in first. Addition doesn't have to come first if subtraction is first in the sentence. The supplies that are provided in your pouch along with your information sheet and directions will be What's Your Sign game board, some pawns, a dry erase marker, a positive and negative dice, a 20-sided dice, and a operations dice, which will have multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction on it. To start this game, each player will put their pawn on the start position of the board, and what they'll do is move one space down or up based on if they got the correct operation. So they'll start with rolling each dice that they have, and it says on there the sign dice first, so you'll do the positive and negative to see what sign it is, and this is positive, so you'll put that down. Then you'll roll the number dice, and what number comes up, you'll write that down, which is 13, and then you do the operation dice to find out what operation you're going to do, and this one is multiplication. So you're going to put that in there, and then you're going to repeat rolling until you file out all the different parts of that equation down there. So now again, we'll do negative, number 4, operation addition, and then the last two, positive and a 6. So you go all the way through and write all the signs down, and you'll have a expression. So we have positive 13 times negative 4 plus 6. And notice I took out the positive 6 because we're just adding 6. So in this case, we then start first by estimating, do you think it's going to be a negative answer or a positive answer? So the student will look at that and determine if it's negative or positive. I'm going to take a guess and say, I'm going to think the answer is going to be negative. So then we solve, and we have 13x minus 4, which times negative 4, which is a negative 52. We have negative 52 plus 6 is a negative 46. So the answer is negative. So that means I got that right. So I get to move down one pawn. So I have to be able to get the answer correct in order to move up and down the ladder. And notice I'm moving towards the negative sign and not towards the positive sign, because the negative was the right answer. So in the next problem, we have a negative 6 divided by a negative 12 minus a positive 2. So we'll write down that expression. We'll take a guess. Do we think it's going to be a negative answer or a positive answer? And I'm going to guess a negative. So then when we do the mathematics behind it, a negative 6 divided by a negative 12 equals a positive 5/10. So that falls in the category of, which is on your information sheet, that a negative times a negative is going to equal a positive. The same holds true if it's negative divided by a negative equals a positive. A negative and a negative is always going to equal a positive. So we've got that written down. So then we continue on with the problem. We take that 5/10 minus 2, or it's minus the positive 2, but it's really 5/10 minus 2 equals a negative 1 and 5/10. So the answer is negative, and that falls under the category that if I have a positive minus and it's actually, I'm doing it negative, but it's the larger number that holds the thing. So it's actually a negative 2 here, because the positive and negative, that's going to, this is going to be minus 2. So it's really 5/10 minus 2 is going to equal a negative 1 and 5/10. So students will work on these They will then move their pawn down one more step, and we're working towards whoever gets off the ladder first, going positive or negatively. And you can see that they'll probably be going up and down based on how their dice roll, so they'll be playing this game for a while. But it's a good clarification of when you use positive and when you use negatives. And there is directions on the board that tell you when you use each, so they can refer to that while they're playing the game. Some guided questions to promote critical thinking. What is PEMDAS and why is it important? The examples I showed you, we didn't use the PEMDAS, but the students can include parentheses in there if they need to make sure that they do the correct order first. And do you have to do the operations in order to know if the number is positive or negative? Why or why not? Can you look at a problem and be able to know if it's going to be positive or negative? And does two negatives make a positive in subtraction or in multiplication and division? What happens when we have two negatives? What goes on when we do that type of operation? So looking at this, the students can think about those and answer those questions, get a deeper understanding. Enjoy the activity.